You're unmuted. All right, we got a quorum. Hey, Rudy. You doing, Mark? Doing okay. 131, there we go. Let's call this meeting to order. Well, I think we start. We don't have minutes to review, do we? I have minutes right here. They're in the packet. They're in the packet, yeah. Those are the ones that were approved for last meeting. Yeah, right, so he sent that out. What? It's an email. I've had it, anything in it, but the agenda. Oh, no kidding. Oh, I wasn't packet. It was like. Scan the QR code on the desk with you. You don't get it. But I'm also gonna bring it up on the screen. That's great. That'd be great. Yeah. Roll call. You have the pen. No, I just have 2 board meetings in July. July. Yeah, that was approved at the meeting. So you're signing those because they were approved. Gotcha. So the minutes for the last meeting. I couldn't find it. It's right here. Yeah, I couldn't find it. This is for August 19th. Yeah. I believe it's 2 pages. Yeah. Or I can print out some copies for you. I think we could read it.
Yeah.
You can just keep it up there.
Yeah, let's just get down to the,
Kids.
there you go, that looks great.
Bypassing roll call and approve of agenda.
Well, we haven't,
We're just looking at the minutes before we,
yeah, so this is where Mr. Well, yeah.
we're just sort of reviewing the minutes.
Yeah.
Let's take roll call, right?
Listen, Chair Pottinger,
Here,
Vice Chair Newland. Here. Secretary Patterson.
Here.
Trustee Heck. Here. Board Member Short, I believe is out. He's out. Board Member Heine. Amy here. And Board Member Wells. Here. You have a quorum. Thank you. Yeah, it starts off with the approval of the agenda of the minutes where Chair Newland stated he'd like to amend the agenda by adding the topic of formation of the subcommittee for a presentation. And that was a motion and second approved. Would you like 10 minutes? Seconded by Mr. Wells. Ms. Patterson rise 5:35. The discussion of sick tree day stuff. I'll let you read that, so I'll make sure I got that correct. You know, read that, okay? We've got that. 2.
Do we need a motion of some sorts?
Well, I think they're still reading.
we're still reading, but yeah, we're almost there.
Almost. Short drive to 5.
Okay, are we good there? I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Second. Right, we've done roll call. Let's take a minute to look at the agenda. If you look at the agenda, view it. Um. Motion to approve of the agenda for tonight. All in favor?
And
Second, all in favor?
Yes.
I.
Thank you. I think we added these two items, items 5 and 6, and so. All right, well, let's move into item number 1. Any objections to that? Do you have any objections?
No, not an objection. No, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I'd like to put a little perspective to this agenda as I had a hand in coming up with some of the items.
Yeah.
I've written probably 4 or 5 pages on discussion points that I wanted to discuss at some point with everybody. It's very difficult to do that. So just to put a little bit of perspective on this agenda, trying to get my notes, clear for that. We have a subcommittee that we're going to prepare a presentation for the trustees that was talked about in that minute. But I thought it best to hold off until we get more context and direction. So we have not done any work on that.
Yeah.
So hopefully some context and direction can come from this meeting. The second thing to put this agenda in perspective is Greg and I passed on a meeting with Stefan, a budget meeting for several reasons. The main reason is we don't know anymore what our role is to know what to ask for in the budget. So that hopefully puts kind of this agenda in perspective. So the first item is Stefan's, can I just continue?
Sure.
So the first item is Stefan's memorandum discussions, part 1, 2, and 3. He sent out a memorandum. Did anyone have a chance to read it?
I sent that out. Yeah, I read it.
Okay.
I read it.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna bring up some points and maybe we can talk about them. I don't understand the attitude anymore of the town of Paonia and our tree board. Possibly it's the town, it's the trustees, it's the mayor, it's the administrator, it's public works. So in this memorandum, he seemed to lecture us on our advisory role, which we all get. Then he suggested that the budget discussion was beaten to death, yet we still had to buy a tree out of our own pocket. So I'm very confused. We have advised, to use Cammie's report, we have advised for a 1-to-1 replacement on trees taken. We have advised to prune risk adverse right-of-way trees. We have advised to hire an arborist for any work on public trees. But it seems these have all fallen by the wayside. Does anybody else have any perspective? And I'm pretty negative on this thing because I don't know where we stand.
Yeah.
So does anyone else have any perspective on what this memorandum tells us?
He wants us to do the tree application for Tree City USA.
Yeah. That's my perspective. I think that's where we're at.
Yeah.
And I think we're at this point where we're not clear on what our role is. And I think we can't move forward until that's clear. And we're starting to see a pattern of, sidewalks have been an issue for 5 years. Right? The sidewalks tree issue is a big issue in this town. And we have offered to provide training and be part of the conversation. and we have not ever been asked what our thoughts are about the sidewalks or been informed of any projects. Like we hear that third hand from somebody. So there hasn't been any town communication about sidewalks. Okay, I'm just sort of giving a little rundown, okay? Just sidewalks is one. Ordinances that we spent a lot of time on in 2024, we put forth to the town. The town has never followed up, never asked a follow-up question. It's like that doesn't exist, that we were trying to make some suggestions that would be supportive of trees and help clarify the code for the citizens.
Basically, rewrote the whole,
Right. So there's that. We spent a lot of time on a permitting process because there's the right-of-way situation where homeowners have trees and they belong to the town. The responsibility falls on the owner. And we proposed that the town should consider a permit process because we don't want homeowners to take down a healthy tree that's been determined to be healthy without a communication with the town. So we spent a lot of time on a permit process. We've submitted the detail on that. This is over a 5-year period. We've done that. Not heard one peep about that. So that is just dormant. And then we move into this trimming of the trees along the sidewalks, the walking paths for people to the schools. And we're an advisory board. And yet there's been no inquiry. Hey, how would you, Tom, you worked for 30+ years in Broomfield. What advice do you have for protocol for how the town proceeds? Mark, you have all this experience in Louisville. What advice do you have? So instead of that, the town just starts, okay? They start, and then we get a call. So we go over. And what we can see right away is the town did improperly. They went into somebody's private property, improved a tree. So we reacted as any normal person would react, like, whoa, what did you do? So now we're being criticized by the town because we were sort of shocked, like, what's happening? We don't even know. So I'm sharing this to say, and then one more thing is the irrigation project in Town Park, which they're putting bids out for, are we gonna be asked? These guys are knowledgeable about trees? Or is it something that's just gonna happen? So that's really where this board is at. We put in a lot of effort over the last 5 years. Crickets.
may I add to that? Very good. I on one of my blogs to myself, here's our successes of last year. We had a website revision. We had Arbor Day celebration and planted barely as we had planted ourselves. We had a sick tree day, day. And we did the Tree City USA. Here's the things that didn't happen that have fallen off the radar. Bi-weekly meeting with Public Works Director fell off the radar. Monthly meeting with Town Administrator fell off the radar. Pruning demo to Public Works team.
May 8th. We did that May 8th.
Yeah.
We did do that.
Yeah, but you know, one meeting or one training, even if it's a video, it's not gonna train these guys. It takes years and years of knowledge to do. So that's a need for certified arborists. Number 8 here, tree removal in Town Park, no follow through. We ID'd 5 trees for removal for health and liability issues with the intention of a 1-to-1 replacement. We had budget, we thought for this. We ended up planting 1 tree. The volunteer effort stalled. No follow through effort on Public Works' outline for a water system that we could help them with. Never happened. The communication protocol between Public Works and Tree Board, we had it, we talked about it, no follow through, as Greg just outlined. Tree permitting, talked about that removal of trees. Loss of focus, misguided pruning continues. Our budget, we thought we had a budget and line item, and that just Stephen lectured us twice that we don't even remember, and yet we had to buy the tree with our own money. The last one, who owns and maintains right-of-way trees. So just everything has been difficult.
It's been hard. And so I think
Everything.
this, it says here, it's important to emphasize that the tree board is advisory in nature. But it begs the question, does the town want advice? Does the town want any advising? Because at this moment, I have not seen any indication that the town wants advising.
And I listed those four things. We've advised to use Cameron's report. We've advised for one tree replacement. Advised to prune risk-averse right-of-way tree. We've advised to hire an arborist. Nothing has happened.
Thank you guys for expressing those things, because those are, I obviously hadn't thought of all of them, but they cover some of my concerns. I think additionally for me, when I joined this, because I have a love of trees and because I want to be of service, I understood that this was going to be a cooperative situation. And because we have a liaison here, I assumed there was going to be a cooperative communication back and forth. When I asked our liaison how he saw his role, what he said to us was, I don't know, they sent me to be a spy. And when I heard that,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
when I heard that, I thought, well, you know, it's silly to get offended by things like that. People say things and jokingly, right? We don't really mean it a lot of times. And so I didn't take offense, to be quite honest. I thought it was probably just said in an offhand way as a chuckle. But when I read that letter, I thought, no, that wasn't said as a joke. It was said, we want you to make sure that we know what they're doing. And I mean, I don't really see receptivity. And I'm old and I'm tired. And I want to be of service, but I don't want to spend my time
Spinning your wheels.
spinning my wheels and feeling like a prop.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah.
And additionally, you know, I have been in positions of administration and understood that times people get all pissed off about things they don't understand, and it can be really hard to be in government because they go off the deep end and they say things that aren't true and they get all enraged. And so I always try to be like, you know, I don't necessarily know everything that's going on. I understand there's a lot of challenges. There's usually budgetary restrictions. There's often manpower restrictions. And I get all that. I get that. And it can make it very hard. And it can help create adversity as we're seeing in our country today. You know, that's not the only reason, but that's part of the reason. But the tone of that letter to me was not something that I want to experience coming from a leadership position at that level.
Yeah.
The tone was not, to me, I didn't experience it as searching for resolution or cooperation. It felt more to me like someone who was a boss who was saying, this is what you're going to do.
Yeah.
And I just really didn't appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear both you and Tom's perspective on this, because here I'm thinking I'm a little baby reading this thing going, wham. But it's good to hear this stuff, guys, because Greg and I took it to heart.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that is the benefit, is that we all have a little bit different,
Yes.
you know, he has tree expertise. You have experience with landscape and all of that. You have some excellent leadership skills. You have a lot of experience with our local. I don't have any of those things, but I think I do look at like a big picture of, you know, what the heck is going on, and try to consider all sides. I'm never going to be perfect at that, maybe not even excellent at that, but you know,
Yeah.
that was very, very disappointing coming from a leader. It didn't feel like, I have known mayors, I have been friends with mayors, and that is not what people that I have known that are in that level of leadership, that is not how they address an issue.
Yeah, so there was no sense of gratitude for anything that we've done thus far or that we're trying to do. And a reminder that we're small and that we need to be quiet or stay in our little spot. We're serving at the pleasure of the mayor and board of trustees. Well, hey, guess what? I don't really need to serve at the pleasure if I don't feel like I'm getting anything
Well,
done.
that terminology just kind of means that, that's a phrase that's used often in government.
That's fine. In this letter, it doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
I'm just, for the record, that doesn't work for me because we're feeling like it's a one way. You're admitting that you're here to report back. Yeah, and that's not what we're looking for. We're all volunteering our time to actually try to make a difference here. And we're being told, don't forget, you guys are just a tree club.
Stay in your lane and do the,
So what's the
Trace to the USA thing.
I mean, what's the point?
Well, I think this discussion has been very good to give us a perspective if we want to do this presentation that we can talk about there. So let's move on to number 2.
Can I just ask one thing?
Many.
Trustee Hack, Mike, so who is it that told you to like come here and be a spy?
The mayor,
Right.
when, and it's in
What was
the
the
bylaws,
context?
we're supposed to have a liaison. And we did get the irrigation system. I mean,
But
that,
what's the context that you're supposed to spy? I mean, these meetings are like public
well,
meetings and.
yes,
Yeah.
the money has to go through channels, ever since that, a long time, not that long ago, a lot of money got ripped out of town, like 400,000.
Yeah, but I think you're missing Christina's question.
No,
You asked that
I mean,
different way.
I'm telling you why things work the way they are. Everything
No,
has to.
That's not a question.
Well, we understand the Chesnick and the more than 400.
You wouldn't believe all the checks and balances we have to go through just to get something simple.
We have no access to money. We obviously, we
You
know
have
to
to
go through
apply.
the trustees. We cannot, the tree board can't embezzle any money.
This is like the military. And it's like, you follow the chain of command. You go to Stefan, then he has to put it before the board.
But the mayor asked you to come and be a spy and she wasn't
Well,
just.
that's in
Yeah.
the bylaws. Not spy. She used the word report. All right.
Okay.
What we were hoping for is an advocate.
No.
Really somebody who's informing us, informing us of what the town is up to. And being an advocate so that like, oh, wait a minute, let's bring in the tree board because they know about sidewalks. That's what we need, is somebody who's actually trying to see where we could be of service to the town. And not like how to keep us ineffective, because that's what it feels like. At this moment, it is not a two-way street here.
You have to go through the budget process.
But it's more than the budget.
Yeah,
We
no,
got-
it's not. If it's not in the budget, it doesn't happen.
Well, we earmarked.
So you can't talk to someone and have a conversation about something without having it be a part of the budget?
It's not that loose. Everything's a black
You
and
can't
white.
have a conversation without a budget process?
Like to say, hey, there's an irrigation
You
project.
can't go outside that door. and
No,
talk
I
to
mean,
them.
not all of these things involve money that they have spoken of. A lot of them are just informational exchanges. You don't have to have a budget process for an informational
To
exchange.
get it done, you do.
To get it accomplished, but to get to that point, you don't just start with doing it. You have to have communication, you have to have planning, right? And if you don't want to talk, if they don't want to talk to us until they're ready to start, then they've already made all those decisions. And then we are not what they wanted, because if you've already made all those decisions, then you're not looking for any advisory information input.
Well, this budget has nothing to do with her question.
Right.
Sorry, I
But
didn't.
nothing gets done.
No, really, question.
I'm gonna ask Christina's questions a different way. What context, what was the flavor of that comment? You already said, it. Maybe it was tongue in cheek. I'm gonna spy on, tongue in cheek. Just report back what.
Yeah, we all make stupid.
You have
jokes
no idea
sometimes,
what
right?
it is. So we've beaten this to death. These are
Okay, yeah,
great,
just-
these are really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Good.
Do we want to go to the next one?
Yeah, and can I start on that one too?
Yes.
All right. We're moving on to item number 2.
Yes.
Okay.
which is. And what's it ask?
Relationship with.
Yeah, okay, so something happened, something changed with Corey's resignation. We had a good relationship with him.
Yeah,
He called us when he questioned anything regarding public trees. Today, we seem like a burden to public works.
yeah,
We don't get any participation in a volunteer effort to help water the trees. Noting that the procedure for the water system that Nikki said she was gonna do, never done. It just, I said that it fell off the table. What happened to the protocols? There's no protocols. She never calls us like Corey used to, and they go ahead and badly prune that tree. We had 5 tree locations marked. No watering commitment established, so we chose to plant 1. So that's just the public works perspective I had. I think we're a burden, and I don't know why
yeah,
that is.
yeah, I don't wanna be a burden,
No,
no,
no.
I got other things to do.
So does anyone else have anything to add to that? I don't know how else we haven't had too much interaction with public works, and maybe that's our fault. Maybe that's our fault. We had a meeting set up. I even asked Sam now a month and a half ago, hey, what happened to those meetings? Can you get them back on our radar? Nothing happened.
Yeah,
So I don't know if we are just a.
Well, I think that's the issue. I mean, I think you look at something like that and you say, well, are they so overwhelmed? You know, often when you have staff issues, you're overwhelmed. And then we have a newer person doing that, and that could be the case or not. But you can't resolve any of it if there's not communication, right? We can't be empathetic to a person saying, you know what, right now I'm trying to deal with all of this, and I want to cooperate with you, but I'll do it later or something. But if you don't have communication, then we can't be receptive to not being a burden in the ways that they feel that we are. And they aren't being receptive to allowing us to in some way reduce that burden.
yes. Yes.
So that's all I have to say on that.
So that remains to be seen, like, I mean, I get it, I get the public works is busy, it's just we haven't, aside from. In the past, when Corey was there, there would be like a tree that needed some attention, we would get, that's a good thing, I'd reach out to Tom. Mark, we could go look at it, and 3 of us can't meet to look at it at the same time because of open meeting laws, but. Anyway, we're trying to like provide an advisory role that way, when's the last time we got a call about any tree? Right?
Since before Corey left.
Yeah, so we haven't gotten a call, we haven't had a request, so there's nothing coming this way. Which begs the question, do they want our input?
And that leads perfectly to number 3. Our role. And Mike, take this back, please. And I can send you an email if you'd like to, but I wrote down, there's some things here on the agenda, and I'm just gonna read them, maybe a little bit different. So the 4 things I have. How does the town administration, mayor, trustees, and public works value our trees and urban forests? I've been asking that question for 5
Did you do some homework?
Huh?
Did you read the comp plan?
What?
The comprehensive plan, you guys were supposed to read it because there's a whole section about trees in there and the importance of trees.
Well, we don't hear it from the town.
Yeah, we're
We
not-
hear the
Yeah,
outcome.
it's in our plan.
Well,
That's the planning. That's not our
That's the value
trustees,
of the
that's not the
plan, that's not the
mayor.
value of what role we're supposed to play.
No, I wanna know, no, I don't care about the comprehensive plan. I wanna know what the mayor, the administrator,
It's not,
the trustees, how they value our trees, public trees. From them exactly. What are the expectations to maintain the Paonia urban forest? I don't know if they have any. Understanding we are advisory in nature. What specifically does the mayor and trustees want us to do in our advisory role? Those are the 3 questions. We don't know anymore.
Yeah, we don't know, and it's, actions speak louder than words. We've heard some good words over the last few years, but when the rubber hits the road, it's like, we're not seeing any evidence for that. And I think before we can proceed, because, you know, to Tom's point, Tree City USA, I know that's important to the town. And we can scale down and get a couple people to do that. But if we're not here to talk about right-of-way trees or talk about watering of the trees or the canopy or the healthy forest or training or planting or sick tree day, all of that. Okay, I mean, it's a disappointing thing, but we have to get clarity and we actually need the town to, you know, I guess maybe it's been made clear. You know, I feel like the guy that's asked the girl out to the dance 5 times and she said no all 5 times, and now I'm still wondering, does she want to go to the dance with me? That's how it feels.
Stay here
Does
late.
the town still want to plant a tree?
Yeah, I don't know that the town wants to plant a tree. No. I haven't really seen evidence for that. So. Yeah, so that's where we're at. So that's item 3. How about we move on to item 4?
Is this the one that I submitted? The discussion of.
Yeah, this is yours.
Okay, so I asked this to be put on the agenda because, you know, it's the nature of democracy and process that there's a lot of discussion, but a lot of times we don't end up with any kind of summation. And I have had people ask me about trees here, and I've just given like really generalized answers because when I'm on a board, I don't want to ever speak for the board unless the board has said this is what we feel as a whole, right? So we've talked a lot about the future of the peony trees, for example, you know, trees have a lifespan. These trees were planted at this time. They're nearing their end of their lifespan, right? So that would be like, I'm hoping that we can just quickly come with like a bullet point thing. Number 1, this is something that I've heard, I think everybody talk about, lifespan of the peonia trees, of many of them. Is that true? What would you say, like, do we have any thoughts about what percentage, just like a ballpark, not like we're saying it's this percent?
I'll just give you my perspective on the tree
Lifespan.
health of this.
Yeah, but what I want to do is I want to go through this
I
quickly and
don't
get.
know what their lifespans are.
Uh-huh,
That's hard to show.
uh-huh.
But my observations and my training and of the town of Paonies Urban Forest, it's an overmature forest. Lacking diversity,
Over mature,
lacking diversity of both age and species.
diversity. Of both
Monocrop.
age
Farming.
and species. And so the outcome of that is,
Then all those trees are gonna fail within probably a 10 to 20 year.
okay, trees, I'm not good at writing fast, trees fail within a what period?
Typically a 10 to 20 year
10
period.
to 20-year period. So that's one aspect. And how do we know that? By the age of the town and when it started being planted, by looking at, how do we know, what is the evidence of that?
It's observation. You go and look at these trees, they're large.
So as someone who has a lot of experience with trees, you can look at
A
them.
trained arborist can go and look at those trees. And I think anything Cammy could do it, I could do it. There's a lot of
I know a high school kid that planted that
individuals. Yeah,
in 1927.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get these bullet points where we say, what is
100-year-old trees, right?
what is the issue and what is the evidence? Because you always want to have evidence when you're saying something.
Right.
So the evidence is a trained person, arborist, can observe. Do you think an additional evidence would be the time this town was established and the history?
Oh, yeah, you can look at the time, you got what? Date of 1924 was one. They're 27.
Shorty was.
They're 100 years old.
Yep.
And that probably goes true with, I bet they planted the park, I bet they planted the right of ways. Everything else at
Well,
approximately.
I have read some history on this, and there was a guy, I don't know his name, but he came in and he visited the place and he said, this is a great place. He found some wild fruit. He said, this is a great place to grow fruit. He brought in a hoop load of trees that were fruit trees, and then he followed that up by bringing in a bunch of ornamental trees or that, or whatever you would call
Maples
them.
and all this.
Okay, so the life of the, so we have over mature trees that lack diversity in both age and species. And that will mean that the trees will fail in approximately, most of them, a great many of them will fail within a 10 to 20-year period. Does that sound accurate?
Sounds accurate, and with their endeavors to try to replace sidewalks and curbs, it's could shorten the lives of the trees. even
Okay,
more.
that's a good point. Activities, what would you say? Infrastructure activities can reduce lifespan? Infrastructure activities could reduce lifespan.
Yep, that would be,
Okay.
that's a good word. Replacement of infrastructure.
Okay, replacement
Whatever.
of infrastructure could reduce lifespan. Okay, and then the next point that comes to my mind, having lived in a county that's 70% of it burned down and watched the trees lose their health, you know, to go from healthy trees to very unhealthy trees, is climate change may accelerate this. Would you say that may be true?
It could be. I
Okay.
mean, we are getting less and less water. Water is an
And
issue.
that's what I'm talking about. Climate change is resulting in less water and less water. Uncompensated for, less water could further reduce lifespan.
When we're on the subject, maybe we should throw in something about fire mitigation in there. I mean, what would happen? What do you think the town would look like if P Hill got?
I can tell you a whole lot about that, but right now I would really like to get to this bullet point thing so that we walk away here tonight with an agreement about what it means that we may lose our canopy, if that's okay. I think that's an important issue. I have wanted the town to address that because there's only like 5 egresses. And as these trees age and become more healthy, it is a big danger. A loss of life, loss of animal, and loss of property.
But I will say, I think that's very important. You look at our alleys in Paonia.
Yeah.
You know, one stray match, our whole forest is gone.
I have a pile of debris this high between me and my neighbor that he brought in.
You know, it.
Believe me, I'm on board with that, but can we finish this?
But isn't this part of that?
Okay, well, let's deal with this point because otherwise we'll like talk forever. So the climate change, would you agree that climate change is reducing the amount of water that the trees are getting?
Yeah, there's a lack of water.
There's less water than there used to be falling on this
Pretty
town.
historical.
Okay. So we have a reduction of water that comes from a natural source, getting the trees, right? And during our tree day, what we said is every problem that we saw was what? Water. So they're getting less water and it's not getting compensated for. So if that continues, they're getting less water. If climate change or we start getting for years much more water, then that could be mitigated possibly, but we don't expect that to happen. Okay, so we could say realistically that this first point that we talked about may in the future accelerate if the water issue isn't mitigated for. Would you say that's true? In other words, you have the basic things that we talked about where you have the life of the trees, the lack of diversity, the age of the species, and that they're going to fail. That would happen whether the water was an issue or not, right?
Yeah.
You add a lack of water, it seems
It accelerates.
it could accelerate it. Do you feel like that is a true statement?
Yes.
Okay.
But in
So-
a way, one thing is that was the issue. We were trying to, plant like so many trees, so we would create this microclimate system in this town
Right, right.
to
So-
generate more water.
So that's point 2. And you can debate whether it's climate change or not. What we know is there's a reduced amount of water.
It's been less water in the last 30 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And and given that what we saw, most of the problems with the trees that we saw was a lack of water, that could accelerate that process. Okay. So then number three, and this is something I observed, and this is to your point. In part. I lived in a place, 70% of the county burned down, 40% of the town burned down, there were fires every year. And you start to become very aware of the health of the trees and how they look. And what you see is, as it starts, it's like a curve. It starts slow, but the more unhealthy the trees get, the less moisture is in the air, the less healthier the trees are, the more foliage loss you have, and it becomes a cycle that accelerates, right? So obviously I can't know this, and I don't know that any of us can, but what may potentially happen if this continues with this lower water and it's unmitigated in terms of people providing water, is you could see an acceleration because of the very fact that those trees are respiring less moisture into the air. So that, you know, anybody could argue that point, but I think it's something to think about. So I want to walk away from here tonight with all of us at least having some kind of general basic consensus about what the future looks like. So what other points would anybody here say would affect the future of the trees here, besides the age, besides the mature, lack of diversity, the lack
Or pruning.
I think just overall maintenance of the tree.
Yeah.
Overall.
Overall.
lack of or improper.
Lack of maintenance.
Lack of maintenance, but also some poor jobs shortens the life. We've seen trees topped in this town, you know, it shortens their life.
So let's do one at a time. Lack of maintenance, and how does that affect the future of the trees? What does it do to?
Well, if you, let's say, an example would be you leave a more or less a large dead branch in a tree.
Mhm.
It dies back, rot gets in it, it takes it down to the tree.
So example would be rot,
Yeah,
establishing. Is that what you mean?
yeah, I mean, it,
Is there another example that is a prime example to you? I just at least want to have one, but if you have another one, well.
Overall
Yes.
maintenance.
Okay, that's, yeah, but we're trying to look at like.
the overall maintenance of over regular pruning of a tree helps promote the health of that tree.
Okay, maintenance,
Regular maintenance
regular maintenance promotes
health and vitality, vigor,
of
health and vigor.
health. And I hope you guys are listening, because I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this.
They were recorded.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all-
Okay, and then you said not only maintenance, but what was the other thing that you just said?
If it's not done,
No,
No, I was saying like poor pruning, like topping, like
oh, inappropriate maintenance, so poor maintenance,
poor technique.
poor technique,
Right.
okay, so that would be. Poor. Technique. In maintenance is the point there. Like when they go out to do maintenance, it's sometimes not being done
Yeah,
well.
which shortens the life of the tree.
Okay. Any other things that? If you're looking at this whole big picture of our, what you call urban forests, I hadn't heard that term, great term. So we've talked about 4 things. Anything else that people can think of that affect the future of our urban forests?
I think fire mitigation should be one of those things.
Okay, so now we can do that, fire mitigation.
the possibility of insects and diseases.
Yeah, that's, why don't we do that before the fire mitigation is as these trees get more stressed.
We have one that's coming, it's in, well, that's for, it will be in our community someday. It's across the whole country, but that's just an example of any disease or insect that can come to a community, and because you have a monoculture, it can really cause damage.
Okay, so there's kind of a double point there. Disease being stress trees become diseased more easily. And when you have a monoculture, disease spreads more easily. Is that the 2 points you're making?
Well, you know, just go back to the example of the Emerald Ash Borer. To catch ash, and there's communities in the Midwest where their communities made up of 40, 50, 60% ash trees, and they've lost them.
I am listening. I'm trying to write it down.
I mean, that's just an example. More important, that Jones disease was another issue. I mean,
So,
I mean, we could go through, I could go through and pull in a whole bunch of different.
no, but so the statement is monoculture spreads disease more easily.
Yes,
Okay,
It's high risk.
high risk. If you have a diverse tree population, say no more than 10% of one species, you have a disease that like the Emerald Ash Borer, if you have 10%, you're only gonna lose 10%. Because of that one insect or disease. But if you have a tree forest that has 50 and 60% same species and you have a disease that comes through, it can take out that portion, it can take out.
so that's another good supporting reason to plant diverse trees, which is what your goal here has been for a while. Okay, and then you were saying if you have diseased trees, they are more of a fire risk, which would wipe out all of them.
Unhealthy trees will be probably more fire.
Okay, better, much better, unhealthy trees. Fire risk. Both to the trees and to the community. Anything else?
All I know is 40% canopy reduces temperature 10 degrees. So like,
No, that's real good. I think that's good.
It's called desertification. We're just at a very early stage of it.
yeah, right.
Okay, so I just wanted us to be able to, like, if I go out and I talk to the community, I want to make sure I'm speaking what you guys know,
Good work.
not,
Sure.
and that we have. Is there anything that anybody feels that is really not true that we said here? Is there anything else that anybody wants to add?
My concern, I mean, I know just thoughts on fire mitigation. I don't think it's an issue. I mean, you look at Los Angeles, that was not an urban forest problem. That was an urban fire. It went from building to building. So that one is different than a forest fire
Very different.
that comes through, but they don't have a buffer around this town that would stop a fire coming in through the thing, just keep this in mind. The thing that saved Meeker was the alfalfa fields that were growing around the town.
Not only that, but having been in a place where there's a lot of fires, people think if you're by a river, that means you're safer, but you're not, because the fires go down the river. They get the tree, you have a riparian ecosystem there, and those trees provide a pathway down quickly.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was really all I wanted to do with that, is I wanted to walk away here tonight knowing what, you guys know, and that we all have some sort of generalized, not perfected agreement on that.
Nice. Good work. We have items 5 and 6 that we do want to get to in 10 minutes.
Okay,
Okay.
I'll speak on the training.
Oh,
So we should maybe just sit down
yeah.
and review, go to YouTube, whoever, find a good training video, give it to them, and they watch it.
Yeah.
That's all we can do. That's all they
We
want.
can identify.
It's not gonna provide a good hands-on communications, but if they think that's gonna make their efforts better, then that's what they can do. There's several good pruning videos out there.
Yeah.
We just gotta identify a couple and they can, I don't have the expertise. I don't think anybody here has the expertise to make a pruning video.
Yeah. So Stefan had requested that we do a training for Public Works. We did one May 8th. Just for the record, we had the conversation last meeting and you decided it was better to wait until late winter. Right?
Yeah.
Versus trying to do it now. And I think he wanted it now, but it's like, this is not the time to do.
Well, you can better show and see what's going on.
what did the question had been asked, you could have told them that.
Yeah, we can do a pruning thing, but
Anytime.
anytime. I mean, you can prune anytime if but
But when people are learning, if they can see what they're doing, right?
Yeah,
well, it's one of those that truly take. I've been pruning trees for probably 40 or 50 years. I've been an arborist for over 30, I was an arborist for over 30 years. And it's not something you just pick up and prune. Yeah, I can teach you a proper pruning cut. And I guess to me, what's the role? Is it better for them to identify the trees that need to be pruned and hire a contractor to do the work instead of doing it themselves? That eases their workload to have a contractor that knows what they're doing,
mhm,
that's licensed and insured to do this work. And then they can identify the technology is there. You can use GIS, you can use mapping, you can put it out there and basically those contractors, if they're good, are there, or you go and get a piece of some paint and you, whatever, there's ways to market, one person market, and then you don't have the whole staff going out there pruning.
We've been advising that for
yeah,
years.
And that lessens their workload.
right. So you could hire a contractor to build your house, or you could go for it yourself. One of them's probably gonna turn out a lot better.
The guy that knows what he's doing. Not saying that you may know how to build a house.
Well, only if you are that.
Yeah,
And we don't have that.
we don't
We
have.
don't have that in this town,
No,
so.
Right,
I think the public works, that lessen their workload, they need to look at activities, whether that they can contract out to lessen their work,
Yeah. And yeah, that's smart,
To lessen
right?
the
You end up
work.
with a better outcome.
do this work that you can do well and hire out
Yeah,
the other work.
And we had pruning budgeted 2025, that just fell by the wayside.
yeah, no. All right,
So,
that's fine.
so that answers the training video that items 5 and 6 that
And
print it out for us. and then-
well, then it's the planting
Yeah,
plan,
now
number
there's-
6.
now there's 6.
So the Public Works Director was wondering if there could be an update on the removal and planting plan that you had discussed previously.
I don't know what the discussion was.
I wasn't part of it.
No, I wasn't either.
Public Works was
The
asking.
Public
Yeah.
Works Director
Yeah.
was wondering if there could be an update on the removal. I think the only actual plan we have was the plan to replace a tree
When we took one out.
when we took one out and then look for opportunities. But I don't think we've actually gotten that far, have
I
we?
guess, again, probably maybe it's a group all of us to read a little more closely the report that Cammy did
Yeah,
and see what she recommends.
right.
That, to me, is the only plan that where there may be some formal identification of trees that need to be pruned and or removed and.
Yes. And we follow that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We have, there's the alleys, but we're getting us.
isn't that up to code compliance to enforce their ordinances to the homeowners to take care of their property?
It is.
Not our job. It's not
Well, we
public works
could,
job.
we could recommend it.
They got a cop down here or whoever does code enforcement, not doing their job.
We on the last one now, or
I think that was the last
that
one.
was, so we're done.
I think
Basically, we look at Cammy's report and.
we can look at
I think we've done
yeah.
right.
And in the city, in the long range plan. We need to look at that and see.
Yeah, see if we can put it into some usable format. Make sense of it, but yeah, a plan, I mean, that's great. If the Public Works Director wants a planting plan. We can do our best to synthesize something at least to look at. I mean, that's a bigger conversation, but. Let's see what's already in Cammy's report. And then we're trying to plant.
You know, I think the answer to number 6, guys, the answer to number 6,
Canopy up.
the answer to number 6 would be, let's try to get those meetings again with Public Works.
Yeah,
to know what she really wants and what she's after.
well,
This is
Yeah.
kind of nebulous.
Yeah, but I think that memo it got pretty much was saying, stop trying to get meetings with us.
Maybe.
That's kind of.
I think we need to get clear what's behind the memo.
Yeah.
You know, like, what does the town want? I will come back to that question. We're still not clear. We need some clarification. So, I mean,
Before you close the meeting, I do need to say something.
yeah. No, I was just gonna say, that sort of is our sticking point, right? Why talk about a budget?
Yep.
If we're not gonna be supported in accessing the funds, which we earmarked, it was all there, but then all of a sudden it's our fault that we didn't ever.
Yeah.
Was never any like, hey, you guys have this money? Do you guys know how to move forward? You know, there was none of that. It was all on us. Made me feel like it really wasn't intention for us to have the money. I mean, I guess we, you know,
Maybe we aren't the arm to spend money. We're an advisory board, that's what they want. And I guess
I mean, we've got specific though on, these are the things that the town needs to spend money on, and it got approved.
It was the bare minimum necessity. It was
Yeah.
planting like a few trees and it was buying those trees and it was the ash borer.
Mhm.
And that was really it. I mean, we
And
weren't,
we did the emerald ash treatment, so that was good.
that should be.
But then when we tried to access and try to figure out how to get trees. You ended up putting it on your credit card, right?
Just.
Yeah.
I got reimbursed, so it happened, but, you know,
trees doesn't, oh,
And that tree's, no longer with us.
rest in peace.
Brand new one?
No.
no.
No,
That was
fine.
last year for me.
So I just need to say, I have so enjoyed working with you guys. You're a lot of fun. I really appreciated the dedication. I think everybody's here for a really great reason. I've appreciated your leadership. I did talk to Ruben today and asked the appropriate way to resign, and he said I could do it at the end of this meeting, and I am officially resigning. I don't have time for, you know, I'm just old and tired, like I said, I expect that level of leadership to approach problem solving in a different way. That's what I'm saying.
Thank you for your service. I really wish it.
Kimberly, I appreciate it. You echo a lot of settlements. We all do.
Yeah, and you guys have been great, you know, and like I told, told him I really appreciated his leadership. It's hard. I would not be a good chair, particularly because I'm not a super patient person. Obviously, right?
If you do well.
But I have, you know, I play my role, I guess. Anyway,
Now
thanks.
that you're off the board. you
Now that
can-
I'm off the board, I'm
Be an
gonna say
advocate.
what I want to
Yeah.
whom I want.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to make sure that in being off the board and having that freedom, that at least I understood clearly what the future of the trees was, because I don't have the same level of knowledge or
You know,
experience.
I'm willing to share my knowledge, but the fact is, I live in Hotchkiss and I don't have any persuasion with the elected officials here. I could care less.
That's not
what they
better than
say.
town either.
Yeah. All right.
So,
Yeah.
I know.
so,
Yeah.
real quick, next agenda items. Well, should we continue with our Don and Tony show for the trustees?
Seems like a lot of work. I think
It's a ton of work.
I think we need to sit back and think about it.
Talk about it. Can we talk about that next time?
I think you just need to sit back and wait and see what they're really willing to take in. Like, why put out a lot of energy and work? And
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we can look at that comprehensive plan Ruben
Yeah.
showed. It's all great. But the town isn't letting us do anything to address that.
Yeah.
That's what.
And maybe they're gonna do that in the future, and I can't know whether they're gonna do that in the future. Maybe they have a good plan, but they didn't communicate anything to us.
Just take it away.
And having a book doesn't tell us what their intent is with us.
No,
It
exactly.
tells them what their intent is. So,
Thanks, everybody. Maybe.
thank you.
Close. Especially close.
So I don't know how much